safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome everyone to a very hot afternoon after what was a very misty and beautiful morning. We are looking at some wonderful plain zebra or Burchell zebra, and this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
What a way to start the afternoon, just being dazzled by all these beautiful striped animals looking at us. It seems like the hot weather has been favorable for all the creatures around, and the zebras were nowhere to be found this morning, but we are very happy to have them join us at the start of our sunset safari on a beautiful day like today. My name is Ali, and on camera with me today is Seb, and we are very happy to have you all on board. If you've got any questions or any comments, please feel free to send them through using the hashtag #SafariLive. Now, we had quite an interesting morning with lions walking everywhere and then growing wings and flying away. No, I'm joking. They seem like we had 2 male lions walking on the property. One went north and one went south. So we're going to carry on driving around this general area, see if perhaps we come across any signs of these lions. Maybe like the zebras, they were somewhere else this morning and they decided, or they have decided, to come into our property once more, which would be just delightful. If not, then we are very happy to see that there's a healthy zebra population around here. We have been missing them around quarantine the last few days, so good to know that they're still out and about. All those beautiful stripes. Seems quite a big herd. I think there are about maybe 7 of them, if I counted them right, because there are a few more hiding in the bushes, and there's one stallion that keeps following this herd. So I wonder if perhaps he's got the intentions of stealing one of these females, or if perhaps if this other stallion wants to come and, who knows, cause a bit of drama all around the zebra's life. Now we've got a few foals around, or quite an older ones, and they all just seem to be feeding in the shade. Very clever of them. It is very, very hot this afternoon, 73 and 23, I think it's the temperature. I might have gotten that slightly wrong, but it's somewhere along those lines. So it is a very beautifully hot day today. I think at one point zebras and us, we were competing for the shade of the trees. We were all parked in very funny places, us waiting for the zebras to move and the zebras waiting for us to just relinquish our shady spot. And what a contrast of a day we've had. We had as I said, the start of the morning today was very misty. We could barely see into the bush. And now look at this. We can see pretty much anywhere where we want. We're looking at the zebras enjoying the day, and of course a very blue and beautiful sky. Alright, we're going to carry on with our search, see what is lurking around the water holes. Perhaps we might even try the biggest one of them all. There's the beautiful sky with all those beautifully wispy clouds fluttering up and about. And while we start our search for the water holes and see what's around, let's go over to Taylor, who wants to welcome everyone as well.
Hello again, everyone. Oh my goodness, and it is so bumpy. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Craig, aka Batman. And the reason why it is so bumpy at the moment is because we're on Triple M, which is one of the boundary roads. We're just having a quick look. Alright, let's try that side. Nope. Sure, sorry Craig, you have to hold on tight there. These roads have become quite bad, and what normally creates these corrugations like this is actually speeding and big trucks and things going up and down the roads. But the big food trucks and delivery vehicles and all those types of things have to get to the different lodges, so this is the way that they will come. But that means that it's a very bumpy ride for us when we're only driving 25-30 kilometers an hour, not particularly quick. in the safari cars. So we're going to try and get off here as quick as possible. Now, I'm not a huge fan of driving on the boundary roads because, of course, we've got power lines. It's not particularly pretty. Also need electricity. The reason why we have to come here, though, is to check for tracks, because we know that a lot of the animals were just off of our traverse, and it was a nice cool day, so they could have come around and started moving throughout the day, you know, then stopped to have a little rest. But I haven't seen anything just yet, and there are lots and lots of transfer cars going up and down, so we're really just eating their dust. So I'm going to move off of those roads now. We're going to come and have a look here out in Impala Plains. So we might get lucky a bit later if it does start to cool down. Like I was saying in the pre-show, it's a little bit warm now, so everything could be just resting up. But we will be visiting some dams, and we will start off with some birds and see what sort of plants we can find. We need to find the plants that are smelling so nice at the moment. Wonder if it's maybe not the knob thorns, but anyways, we'll have to try and find some and have a look. Now, this is live. It's happening right now in South Africa in the Sabi Wildtuin, which is open to the greater Kruger National Park. So the animals have got quite a large area to roam around on, 8.5 million acres of land. However, we cannot traverse on all of that land. We have got certain areas that we can drive on. So you can hashtag Safari Live if you do have any questions for us, and that you can do that by using Twitter. Let's see, it's very empty. Who's flying right here? Looks like a sparrow of some sort that's just landed at the top of that very small or very young leadwood. Is it a grey-headed sparrow? Can we have a closer look, please, Gray? It looks like one, yes. Turn your head, please. No, it's not a grey-headed sparrow. It's one of the flycatchers, which is quite pretty. Not particularly big birds either. They're sort of quite dainty when you look at them. I thought we were going to maybe get a lark or something. The way that it flew quite low and then landed right up at the top of that tree was quite lark. Well, larks tend to do that quite a bit. I'm just scanning here because you can get some nice grass birds. While you look at it, I'm just going to check to see if there are any of the pipits here. We saw African pipits the other day, but I know that there are buffy pipits around too. Some of you may have not seen those just yet. And every time we do birding, we're obviously lucky and we get to see so many of the common birds, but we don't often get to see some of the harder ones. Craig, the silver cluster leaf, yeah. Can you look just in over there? There was a bird that landed somewhere around there. It was quite small. It hasn't moved because I haven't seen the leaves flutter. I don't know what it was, but it did have quite a bit of white on its tail. Can we go down a little bit? I think it was lower down on the sort of silver cluster leaf just in front of it, so just to the left. It was actually in there. There's something flew. I think that's what it was. There they go. There it is. Oh, it is a pipit too. Hang on. If we could go over here. Just landed in the grass. Did you see where it landed? See that, what is that, little acacia of some sort? Just to the right of it, there's a tree that has been pushed over. It just landed down to the left there. Yeah, straight in there. Where did you go? Now, trying to find these birds is almost near impossible. Can we go to the left? A little bit more. A little bit more. I think birding is going to be tough today. If it's not starting off very kindly, I have little hope for it improving, especially with these smaller birds. Come on now, show yourselves. It was a butterfly of some sort flying around, but that's not what we're looking for. Did it fly away? No, it's not that one that's sitting up on that stick that we can see. That's the little flycatcher. What's that? Oh, it's a truck. I thought we had thunder rolling in the distance. But I think it is one of the large delivery vehicles driving on the road. Okay, we're not winning with these small birds. There is a cinnamon-breasted bunting, I think. Oh no, stop flying. Sit still. Did you see where it landed, Craig? So in between the silver cluster leaf that's fallen down and there's a dead one, if you go to the silver cluster leaf at the back. So straight in the middle. Okay, then go up and to the left. More. If you zoom out a little bit. Okay, so here, so somewhere around on this side. I'm just trying to see on my screen if I can spot it. There it is. Okay, zoom in and go up to the right a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Center of your screen, you got it. It's just hopping behind behind that main branch. It's just in over there. It looked like a cinnamon-breasted bunting, but the light could have fooled me. It could be a golden-breasted bunting. It's one of them. You can see the white and black streaks on its head, and it's just flown away. So I couldn't confirm the ID. I think I'm going to change my mind. I think I'm going to go with golden-breasted bunting. Let's leave the birds now because they're not cooperating. Let's find something else that is going to cooperate this afternoon. Maybe we'll have to look at the Egyptian geese and maybe start off with the easier birds, seeing as the other ones are giving us a bit of a hard time. Right, what else could we see in here? Maybe we get to see a scimitar again. A scimitar, not a scimitar. It's a difficult one to say 10 times in a row. Okay, well, we're going to keep searching, hopefully for some birds. Maybe we'll find some sort of mammals around here too. I'm going to send you back across to Ali so she can let you know what she's going to be looking for next.
Well, Taylor, I think that what we're going to be looking for next are elephants. We'd really need to get an elephant fix. I haven't seen them for the last few drives, so would very much have would love to have the opportunity to see a tiny little baby elephant pretending to be big and come and see us all. Shirley loves Ellies. You say that you would love to see some elephants. Good, then we shall look for them. See perhaps where they have been. I don't know if there were any found this morning on Djuma. I know Taylor had some on Chitwa, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, let's start looking for them. I think maybe a good point to start. Oh, I didn't see this bump. To start looking for them would be that direction. I don't know why. I feel like it's calling me today. And then we shall take it from there and see what else it is that we can find around there. Now, not too many tracks on the road, and perhaps Taylor's right. Maybe some of the cats have moved during the day when it was still nice and cool in the morning, and likely they're all resting now. So I think perhaps we'll have a bit of a better chance a little bit later on once the temperature starts cooling down. And then the same with hyenas. They were so fast asleep where we left them this morning that I wonder. It makes me think. I don't think they would have moved. Perhaps when the sun started shining too much, then they moved a little bit to the shade, and that was probably about it, because that is the life. If the sun bothers you, just go into the shade. Problem solved. Nothing really much else to worry about for the day. Alright. So, no trucks around here, but we can carry on bumbling about and see what else we can find. Like I said, I think maybe we're going to cross the Malawati and go into the east. Adam, you're wondering what is the hardest animal to find in the Kruger. Well, the cats can prove to be quite elusive. They have been very elusive here in the last few days. I would assume that something like a leopard is very, very hard. But if you're in the Kruger Park itself, leopards can be one of the toughest animals to see around. And then, of course, we've got this very wide selection of very rare creatures that it's hard to see anywhere. Like, for example, pangolins and aardvarks and what else am I thinking of? Perhaps civets, servals, wildcats, caracals, and all these little creatures. But in terms of perhaps the most commonly big animals, I think leopards are perhaps the hardest one. And then, since a few years ago, rhinos are becoming harder to see due to poaching. James, you're wishing that hopefully we'll have more leopard luck on this Feline Friday. I think James is completely besotted, or I think you are completely besotted by the spots, and I don't blame you. They can be very mesmerizing, so hopefully I am kind of hoping that maybe later on towards the afternoon, I know Taylor had tracks for Shongala. Hosanna and Shongila, maybe that should be their new common name, Shongana. Moving on to Torchwood, so I just want to do a big loop around, come back down and see if maybe we can pick up on any tracks. Maybe they'll still be in there, but it's a good as option as any. And then of course I would love to see Shadow's little cub. I think it was looking so pretty this morning, so nice and full tummied and all well. And who knows, I'll be happy even if Mvula's around, or of course the last minute leopard, why not? But I suppose we will have to see. Tundi would be a prize to see. And Tamba, just to figure out where he's been and what he's been up to. So pretty much any leopard would be nice, I agree with you. I don't know why I'm digressing so much. But also lions would be nice. They haven't been around the last few days. Feline Friday? Oh, what if we spice it up and maybe ask for a wildcat? That would be pretty amazing. I think maybe we must go to Chitwa Dam to start looking for a wildcat. I feel like that big open area might be the perfect place for them. Now, where are the rest of the living creatures that might be around this road? Like you, elephants. We've had some very wonderful sightings of elephants closely to the torchwood trees, which are some of the biggest trees that we have around here, and it's because they're eating the seeds or the fruit that the tree yields, and it's normally quite nutritious, very oily, and we've seen them shaking the tree, and then just everything drops, and then that's what they eat. So I was thinking perhaps this would have been a good place to start looking for them, just because of all the big trees, but it seems, due to the lack of tracks, that none of them have been around here this morning. But we shall carry on looking for them. It is amazing to think how such a big creature can hide away just behind a tree or in between the bushes. Alright, big torchwood there, no elephants here. There's a little plant here that grows very funny, that I've been seeing it every so often. Can you shine on that particular... Why do I say shine? It's almost like you're holding a spotlight. I feel like maybe that's because you're holding the attention. Alright, that green thing there, that is called... Ooh, I'm stuck. That's called a wild asparagus. We normally see it on the ground, and I don't think I'll be able to get to it. No, I think I'm gonna desist, because too many things are in between us and the asparagus. But normally you don't see it growing over there, you see it mostly on the ground, and it's one of those creepers that has got, well, it's not really a creeper, it's just a normal plant, that has got a very important cultural value around this area, and often it's collected during the winter months because it is believed that it can help stop the rain. So during the summer times, when we also see it, people they burn it up, and it's got to be the firstborn of the family or the first son that's got to burn it away from the house, and that will help keep the rain away. So you'll often see a lot of the people around this area just collecting it just to make a fire. So if there's any special occasion, for example a wedding or a family gathering, and the weather is not looking that good, then they'll go and quickly burn it outside just to prevent the rain from falling. Which is quite interesting, isn't it? Sometimes it works. I would imagine sometimes it doesn't. Maybe we'll see some more of that. Or at least that's what I thought it was. Seems like Taylor is still searching for animals, so let's go over to her and find out what her plans for the afternoon are.
Well, Ellie, you know what? It seems as though the animals don't want to show themselves to me because even the birds are hiding away. So I thought we would try and do something different. I'm going to try and look for things that cannot run away from me. But now I need your help. This is where all of you who are watching this afternoon come into it. So, it's a game. Are you ready? Sort of a treasure hunt, if you will. Now, I know a lot of you have been watching for years and years and years, and there's many different types of trees on the property. There's no flowers really around at the moment, or little annual forbs. They've already died out coming into the dry season. However, there's still plenty of trees around. So the game is, I want to hear from you what tree you would like to see, and then it's going to be a treasure hunt. I'm going to have to try and drive around and figure out whereabouts these trees are. Obviously, I have an idea where we drive the same roads all the time, so you see certain trees on a regular basis, but it'll be interesting to see if I can actually find them all. So, hashtag Safari Live with what trees you'd like me to show you, and then we'll go and we'll chat about them for a little bit. We'll learn how to identify them, maybe a medicinal use here and there if I can pick deep down into my brain and open those filing cabinets to find all that information. Otherwise, I've got some books and we can always go through them and learn together. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but let me know. Like I said, hashtag Safari Live. Well, we're here on the new road with Zoe's and Philemon's cut line, and I haven't seen any more leopard tracks. This is where Shadow, I think, was left, or she went into Hoffman's over here. Let's just quickly go to Gowrie Main very quickly and just have a little scratch around there and just check, but nothing seems to have walked here just yet, unless I've missed tracks, which is of course also another possibility. Missing tracks is one of the easiest things to do. Often you overlook things and you think, ah, hyena, or it's just an impala, 2 impala tracks, and tracks can get distorted quite easily. Some human footprints around here. Maybe it's from Herbie when he was tracking this morning. No, now I can smell that stuff again. You know, I don't know what plant is flowering that's making this beautiful smell. I just want to go back and see. It's definitely not the cluster leaves, the silver cluster leaves. They don't smell nice at all. It's just something it must be growing underneath another shrub, because you don't see it straight away. Check this. Anyways, and seeing as though you just saw wild asparagus, well, Annie showed you wild asparagus, that's actually one of my favorite plants, and they've got the most beautiful scent. They also get little white flowers on them, and the smell reminds me of coconut oil. It's beautiful, such a lovely smell. But I haven't seen wild asparagus up here getting many flowers. Down in the Eastern Cape, it was such a prominent plant you'd see growing along the river bends and things like that, and you could find it everywhere. It was so beautiful, and also it used to get its flower at this time of the year, coming into winter. Ooh, okay, so what's the first tree request, Alice? Can we do it one at a time? Because it will take me some time to, of course, drive around. We're going to do 1, 1, 1, 1, and I'll drive about and see. What have we got? Muck, you would like to see a sausage tree, right? It means I've got to turn around. We're not actually too far. Oh, hope I didn't. I know I talked nonsense. We're actually quite far away. We've still got a bit of a drive to go. Right, so the old sausage tree. There's one just in Philemon's dip, and if we don't come right here, we can always go to Chitwa. There are some, although I think Ali's going to go to Chitwa. There's actually quite a few on Chitwa in the drainage lines. They prefer to grow along rivers. So let's go looking for. I'm not going to talk too much about it right now because I'd rather wait till we get to the tree. I'll tell you a story though while we drive there about the sausage tree. There was one when I worked down at Sabi, a massive one, almost about the size of this brown ivory that we've got just growing over here. It was quite big, and it was over the swimming pool, the staff swimming pool. And every year that it shed its leaves, what a nightmare. It would drop its leaves, and it would take about 3 weeks to lose all of its leaves. And just when you think that you cleaned them all up, a breeze would come through. It didn't take much, and then the whole ground would be completely littered by them again. So it was a nightmare. They're not a good tree to have around if you have a swimming pool nearby. I know my dad would have had a heart attack and chopped it down. My dad was always like that. Growing up having swimming pools, he insisted on not having any trees near the pool so that he didn't have to do too much maintenance on the pool. So that was always quite funny. That was my childhood memory of trees and swimming pools. And I understood his pain, and his frustrations when I was the one that was cleaning the swimming pool often. It's very therapeutic with this pool scoop going about, getting the leaves. What else have we got here? I'm hoping we're going to see a little Steenbok around here. There's one that has its territory. Actually, we saw a mating pair, and then we saw another one the other day, actually right in this area. But they must be further off into the thicket. Okay, I'm not too far away from the sausage tree, but it is going to take me a bit of time to drive in there. So while I do that, let's go back across to Ali and see if she'd like to join in on our tree game.
A tree challenge, absolutely. So whichever tree you guys have got, we would love to go and find it. Perhaps we might even learn and find a new species of tree altogether. Some of the ones that we haven't seen just yet on Djuma. James, you chose a very difficult one. You say you'd like to see a potato bush. I'm not even sure where to find a potato bush here. I haven't even smelled them. Sam, any ideas?
We always smell one when we by Gary Dam on our way back towards Ingas, actually.
Is it? I haven't even smelt it yet. But maybe somewhere around Ingas might be a good place to start looking for it. We are pretty much on the opposite side of the reserve. Which might prove slightly interesting, but we'll see if maybe we can find another one right about the area where we're in. If not, is it fair to get an alternative tree option? Nigel, you're wondering if there are any oak trees around here. No oak trees, but I can do a teak, perhaps. If we're looking for trees that can get quite big or that their wood is quite prized. As oak trees don't really occur in this area that we're in. And the one potato bush that we might be able to find is quite far away from where we are, so we pretty much have to dash all across the reserve to get to it. Maybe we should do that. We shall see. Alright, we will keep the potato bush in mind, see if perhaps we find it, or find a new one that we haven't spotted. Sure, Mama, you would like a jackalberry. Okay, a jackalberry is something that's likely more in this area. Now, we will keep our eyes peeled for potato bush and jackalberry. Because I think jackalberry we're going to be able to get it just as we carry on going towards water sources. As jackalberries like growing in those particular areas. So, I will keep all of those ones in mind. And as soon as we find it, then we'll be happy to show it to you and just show them what their characteristic and distinctive features are. And it is funny, I used to work in a lodge that had just jackalberries everywhere. I don't know what it was about that place, but they just seemed to love it. And also I worked at another one, there were just leadwoods all over the place. And Djuma seems to have a lot of knobthorns. Perhaps that's the reason why we've got the ground hornbills around here. They seem to prefer knobthorns to sometimes some of the other trees. They also enjoy jackalberries, funny enough, to nest because they're very fuzzy about their nesting sites. And if the tree is not perfect, if the real for the season. Alright. Jackalberry and potato bush. And of course, if you are wondering why it's called potato bush, it's not because it looks like a potato, although that would be quite funny. It's because during the night, it puts out a very funny scent that almost smells like a potato. It is a pretty tree. Small little leaves in general, and again, such a powerful smell for such a small tree. Russell, you were asking for an knobthorn. Alright, I can also do a knobthorn the minute I see one. Because now, obviously, clearly there are no knobthorns around us, but there are lots of them around Djuma, so I'm just looking for one that I can show you. Because now I'm going through a lot of terminalias. Alright, potato bush, jackalberry. It's almost like a game of memory. See which ones we can start ticking out of the list. Well, this is just ironic as Seb and I have just spent the last 10-15 minutes talking about knobthorns that we could see. But not in sight. Seems like Taylor has managed to find the sausage tree in question and some zebra, so let's go over to her and have a look. Just as soon as I find the jackalberry.
Not quite the sausage tree just yet, but Ali, I think that these might be the same zebra that you started the safari off with earlier today. It is mini zebra. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I can see for now. And our friend the wildebeest is also there, the one we had this morning with the oxpeckers and in the mist. And he is now just resting. He was walking around and he decided, nope, it's a good time for a siesta. So he's laying in the shade at the moment, which is unusual because wildebeests are normally known to stand in the sun, and that seems to be what the zebra are doing at the moment. They're not really feeding, barring the one on the right has its head down and is chomping away. Otherwise, they just seem to be having a bit of a rest because it is hot. So I think they would have continued doing a fair amount of feeding throughout the morning, utilizing the cooler weather. And now, as we go back onto the road again, you'll see that there's one big mare and then a youngster just lying to the back of her. Those are the ones that are on the road. There they are. Isn't that a nice scene? Now I don't know what to do though, because I really don't want to disturb that zebra that's laying down. But I know if I go any closer it's going to get up and move, and that's the last thing that I want to do. So we might have to do a huge detour, which will mean that I'm only going to get to the sausage tree a little bit later. What do you think, Craig? Okay. Well, I think what we'll do then is, because I want to get towards the sausage tree, we'll have to go back down Savage's track and then go towards Treehouse Dam, have a look there, and then I'll get to the sausage tree. But we're going to have to come up on Weaver's Nest, like I said, when I can. I try not to disturb the animals too much, and we'll let them enjoy their lazy Friday afternoon. And I suppose none of you mind going on the scenic route. The scenic route on a safari is the best kind of route. And who knows what we might find at the dam. Maybe there's an elephant bull that's been powering through the thickets and is on his way to have a drink or perhaps cool himself down. Let's go this way. But we'll get to that sausage tree. It's a nice one. It's not flowering right now, but we should be able to get in and have a look at it. Okay, so you'll just have to bear with me for just a moment. Oh, never mind. You won't have to bear with me at all, because we're going to go across to Ellie now. She was searching for a tree, and it seems as though she's managed to find it.
Well, it has been a wonderful coincidence that we haven't managed to find this tree. Now we are looking at the knobthorn, and I say a wonderful coincidence because I'm gonna fall now. Not too many of them have actually got their leaves at this time of the year. So you come and show us your leaves, pretty little knobthorn. Very big, roundy leaves. That's very characteristic of the knobthorn, and of course all of the hookthorns that are everywhere around here. So I'm actually just going to try and be careful and not get fully hooked here. But there, can you see it there? I think maybe my hand is shaking, but there's a little hookthorn over there, very powerful little thing that's able to, or that helps in defending the tree from all of the little nasty creatures like the antelopes that want to come and eat it. Now, don't hurt me, knobthorn. So it's called the knobthorn because of, I don't think they are all that obvious, but I don't know, Sabi, if you can see the bark quite nicely from where you are. And you see there are little knobs protruding from the main stem, the main bark of the tree. And that's where this type of acacia gets its name as knobthorn, because of all the little knobs in there. And they are all used, funny enough, a lot of the times the local communities come and they cut them from the trees and then they crush them and they use the powder as an anesthetic, especially if you've got some toothache. Apparently it's quite good to put it in there. Now, we've got the younger version of a knobthorn here, and then luckily enough we've got the older version all the way at the back there, even with some pods. So how amazing is that? We've got all the wonderful distinctive features of the knobthorn. We're just missing the flowers, but I'm sure those ones will be able to start seeing them soon enough. So that's what the tree is going to grow into a big knobthorn. So you see, as it starts getting older, then it starts losing some of the knobs on its bark, but they'll be still around in the younger branches. They take quite a long time to start growing, and elephants seem to absolutely love eating and pushing down this tree. And like we were saying earlier, some very big old knobthorns are a great breeding place for the ground hornbills. How's that? Lucky enough to see them. You can almost see some of the knobs on the bark of the tree. And like we said, it's one of the few trees that actually starts flowering during the winter time, possibly to avoid competition with other pollinators all around this area. And as the months and the weeks go by, then we're going to see some very lovely white flowers that are going to be all over the bush, making it a lot prettier. And in case you were wondering, this is a species of acacia. Very pretty. Thank you, knobthorns, for being here. Luckily that we managed to have a look at them and our way to Buffelshoek Dam. See if perhaps there are any elephants down there. I am hoping, fingers crossed, that we will have some of the creatures that absolutely love eating them all the way at the dam. And who knows, perhaps we'll even bump into a jackalberry at the dam. I cannot recall if there are any jackalberries at Buffelshoek Dam. There's that one massive that we always wish we could see a leopard on top of, and it's one of the drainage lines. I don't know, haven't noticed them at Buffelshoek Dam, just have noticed lots of tambuchi trees over there. But fear not, we are on our way, still looking for the bigger creatures. A tree with a leopard, yes, I agree. I think a lot of people have been requesting that. That would be the best thing. And if I can be picky, I would request a marula with a leopard, because marulas are very nice trees to have leopards upon, especially the very big and old ones. A jackalberry with the leopard would be nice too. But just marulas might be easier for screenshots and photographs because they have lost a lot of their leaves. So it's just slightly easier to be able to see them. The leopards, I mean. Jason, you're asking me a very difficult question. You're wondering which one I believe is the most important species of tree out here. Well, it's a very tough decision. I would think maybe if I can run it down to acacias or to species, I would choose acacias. They are pretty widespread all around the different areas, and then we've got some like the knobthorn that flower during the summer months, the winter months, and then the rest of them during the summer months. But also their pods are very important because sometimes, and in certain areas of Africa, they are actually the only food source for creatures, and entire elephant herds can survive just on the pods. But I don't think we can narrow it down to one, but if I maybe had to choose a group, I reckon I would choose the acacias, just because there are so many different species and they have so many good things to them. So I'm gonna go with them. Rashni, you're saying that you love the name acacia. I think it's got a tinge to it. Funny enough, though, there's so much drama in the... Well, I don't think it's drama anymore because it's finished and somebody won already the court case. But there was a very big dilemma between acacias worldwide. So acacias that we know in Africa are not actually called acacias anymore. I think they're called fabidas or febidas or something like that. So the main problem started between South Africa and Australia, I believe, because it is believed that the acacias had or descended from a common ancestor, but then they split into different groups. So and I think it went on for quite a while, the international botany or plant community was trying to determine if they were really closely related, because it seems like they're not closely related, but both sides of the world call them acacias, but which one is really the acacia, which one is not really the acacia. So after a very extensive, and I think it even got to the point where it was like there was some sort of legal involvement. I must actually go and read up and recheck all the facts about this issue, but it seems like the acacias that we have in South Africa are no longer acacias. So it's been determined that acacias are actually the ones that are all the way in Australia. So how's that? It was quite horrific to find out that acacias are not really acacias, but I think everyone's still protesting against it, and everyone keeps calling them acacias, just to make it a bit more complicated. Who knew there could be so much drama in the tree world? Alright, big grey rocks that you eat trees, where are you? Jason, you say that is interesting. It is, and again, I was reading something about it recently, but I cannot remember what was the point of discord between the two main species of acacia. I'll probably need to go back and double check my facts, but I think a lot of it was just genetic difference, and where exactly in time did these two species become separate from their common ancestor. Very, very crazy things happen in the botany world that very much go unnoticed. Alright, Elise, we are looking for all of you. No elephants? And this is such a good spot for elephants. There's so many elephant sightings around here. Alright, hopefully we'll get some more when we get to Buffelshoek Dam. Buffalo! Very rare sight. Hello, big bull. I wonder if this is perhaps one of the ones that we had at the dam yesterday. It's looking like a very powerful bull, isn't he? And again, that typical view, or the typical look on their face isn't like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? I am here. They do command respect like few other creatures out here, at least few other ungulates. Alright, I apologize by that one branch in front of it. I did not calculate this well. I couldn't even see it from here. So maybe let me just try and move forward. No, you stay right there, Buffalo. We will do all the moving. You are an older guy. You can chill. Very unusual to see buffalo. Okay, I think this is better. I got so excited when we saw the buffalo that I just had to stop immediately. And this looks like a very big bull. I'm actually surprised. It looks a lot bigger than the ones that we saw yesterday. I wonder if it's perhaps one of the ones that we did see yesterday. I don't know why. Maybe because we're at eye level and we're not on top of a dam wall. It looks a lot bigger. And of course a starling that wants to photobomb our shot. And the red-billed oxpeckers. Oh, buffalo, are you ruminating and sleeping, standing up? He does look quite sleepy. And it doesn't seem like he's been in water. Perhaps he is also making his way to Buffelshoek Dam to just cool down and enjoy the time there. But from what I can see from here, it doesn't seem like he's actually been there. And he looks so dark compared to the buffaloes that we saw yesterday. I don't know, he's looking like a real catch. Proves that you never know what you're gonna get around the corner. That's naughty oxpecker going into the nose. Have you no shame? Now into the eye. Oxpeckers, oxpeckers. Now you see why sometimes it's hard to spot the animals out in the bush. He is quite hidden. Some of the plants are almost the same size as him, and if you were to just walk back a few meters, then we wouldn't be able to see it whatsoever. That big dark thing there. And just by standing still, we could have easily driven past. It seems like today is a day of spotting things while driving. I'm getting excited about them. Oh, buffalo. Alright. I think you want to go back to your sleep, so we shall leave you to your rumination process. Captain Denmark, you're wondering... You can... my brain is not working. You're wondering just how heavy those horns can be. Well, I would say probably about 20 kilograms or so that they have to carry. Very big bulls perhaps will carry something around 30 odd kilograms. So, very heavy. Imagine just having 20 kilograms and you have to hold them with your neck. Like, that's why they have such big, powerful necks, just to be able to carry their head. I don't know if I could do it. I don't think, like, if I can choose, I don't think I'll be a buffalo in my next life. It seems a bit too much for me. Seems like like Taylor's on a tree mission today, so let's go over to her and see what very rare tree she's found for us.
Ali, I think you're in the lead with trees and mammals this afternoon, but we have arrived at our Cagelia africana, or the sausage tree, which was requested by Monk. So here we are. It's a beautiful one. It's not a particularly big one. I've seen them much larger than this, but it looks as though the elephants have been tucking into it at one point, and they're big trees, and they can stand well over 20 meters tall, and their trunk can get almost double the thickness of this one. But it's a very easy tree to sort of spot. It's got very, very light grey bark, as you can see, fairly smooth as well. A couple of cracks here and there, but nothing quite like a leadwood tree or a knobthorn tree. You see that they're normally got quite a few sort of grooves in their bark, so quite smooth. It's actually too tall for me to go and reach any of the leaves. I can't even bring you a sample back. They only start sprouting out much taller than what I am, but it's a beautiful tree nonetheless. Now they've got quite large leaves. Those ones look like some caterpillars or something along those lines. I'll turn this radio off very quickly. Have been nibbling on them, but I can't see any fruit starting to develop just yet, so we'll have to keep coming back and checking on this one. But normally you'll see a bit of a string coming off of the tree. It looks like string, and then you'll get this massive sausage-like fruit which develops off of it, which is where they get their common name, the sausage tree. Now, you wouldn't want to sleep underneath a tree like this, even though it does provide quite a nice amount of shade if you were a leopard or a lion. But if it had fruit on it and one falls off, you could get something that can weigh up to about 6 kilograms land on top of your head. You wouldn't want something like that to land on top of your head, but luckily there are lots of animals out there that do feed on the fruits. So one thing I got to see quite a bit of is the hippos love to eat the fruit. And the best thing that I've ever seen is that the hippos would sort of just rest in the shallow water during the day, exposing their backs, getting the nice warm sun on them. And as soon as a fruit would go and hit the ground, I kid you not, the hippos would get out of the water and race over like it was going to be their last meal that they were ever going to have, and then they'd start munching on them. But many different animals eat it. So again, so it's the hippos. I think the hippos enjoy them the most. You get porcupines, you'll get common duiker coming down to feed on them as well, and they love to eat, lots of animals like to eat the seeds because the fruit is filled with seeds. It's quite pulpy as well, which is quite nice. Let's have another look. I want to see if I can find, I just want to quickly see if we can actually figure out what has been eating on this tree. I'm just looking. I want to see what caterpillar is maybe feeding on it, but I haven't seen anything just yet, and it would be unusual to see a caterpillar at this time of the year in the peak of winter. But anyways, now I can't see any flowers just yet. They are beautiful red flowers that can last and you can stay in bloom for up to about 2 months, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure it varies in different areas depending on nutrients in the soil, that type of thing. And it's quite interesting, the Cagelia trees with the flowers, is because it's not really the butterflies and things that are pollinating them. It's actually the bats, the epilepted fruit bats, that are the ones that go after them, which is quite interesting. They're the main pollinator, but you'll see lots of different things also eat the flowers. Monkeys like to eat them. Elephants, of course, will like to eat them too. But we're going to try and move on to our next tree now, because I'm sure we've got quite a few to get through. So Ali has moved on from trees now. She's back on the mammals. She's got some hippos.
Indeed, some hippos moving around. They were so peacefully sunbathing just a few moments ago, but it seems like maybe that's done. And in case you haven't noticed, there's a terrapin just hijacking a bit of a ride, but maybe it's time to start swimming again. Perhaps not. Holding on to your bus for the afternoon, are you not? It is very common for the terrapins to go and enjoy the top or the backs of the hippos and then just sunbathe along with the hippos as the hippos start coming out of the water. Now, it is quite funny that it hasn't yet moved. I think the terrapin is not ready to go back into the water, so holding on to dear life for the hippo to stay where it's nice and shallow. I think this terrapin might just get away with it. Now, like we said, it was such a cold morning. It's very likely that the hippos were also out and about moving until later, and they've just been warming up out in the sun, because when we first got here, half of their body was outside of the water, and then they just started heading back into the middle of the dam. Perhaps sunbathing time is done. Sylvia, you're saying terrapin on board. That is quite funny, and I think it's also, as in, I paid for this trip. I am not getting off before I have to. That is a very tenacious terrapin. Oh, no. I wonder if it's going to come back up. I see a head of the terrapin at the back, but I don't think it's possible that it's still on top of that hippo. No. I think along with the lions roaring, this is my favorite sound out here in the bush. I just find it hilarious. Like when you get it when people say that these are laughing hippos, because it does sound like they're laughing or making fun of you from the distance every single time that they make that call. And it can be heard by other hippos and other dams in the vicinity, and it's also it's a local, or to advertise their territory in this particular spot of the water. But often we will hear the females in a particular pod also making the call, just to strengthen some of the social bonds, just to keep in touch and know who's who and what's happening all around. A bit of a distance apart. Don't lie, guys. We know that you were sunbathing next to each other. Yeah, that's what I get as an answer. Hey. And look at this beautiful setting. It's been wonderful having some of the clouds back here, just because, well, they brought so much mist this morning, and now they just provide a very beautiful winter sky with all those whiskey clouds all around. It's almost like you can... What is it? What's the expression? They almost look like cotton candy all around up there in the sky. I'm hoping we're going to have a very nice sunset with all these dramatic clouds out there. I reckon it would be quite beautiful with all of the pinkish and violet and rose colors that we get with the sunset. Now, I wonder if these hippos are going to just spend some time around here and carry on going up and down. I think you guys are quite tired, aren't you? And you're sleepy, both of you. Gone pretty much all the way down, haven't you? Barbara, you're wondering if the hippo would eat the terrapin. No. Hippos are vegetarian, so they will just eat the grass around the dam. So around this dam, sometimes they have to walk very far away to find enough grass to eat in a night, but they will not eat the terrapins. If you get just tired of the terrapins, all they have to do is exactly what this one did, and they'll come back into the water and force the terrapins back in and off them. I think this hippo has also some fear of missing out, FOMO as I call it, because both of them are, or were just now, still listening to us, and just their ears outside, but they're still tired, so their eyes are underneath the water, and so is their nose. But they also want to know everything that's happening out and about. Saw something moving in the water. Natalie, you're wondering how old are hippos when they learn to swim? Well, I would say just about a few minutes old. Well, alright, let me be a bit more technical than that. So hippos give birth underneath the water, but they never learn to swim. They cannot float because they are too heavy, so they have, I think it's called negative buoyancy. Now, what they do when they're so small is they'll pretty much, either their mothers will stay in shallow areas where the hippos can walk in and out of the water, or they will lay on top of their mothers as a... Well, that was rude. As their mothers move up and down so often. That's why we will see the little ones just on top of their mothers, because they can't really reach the floor, and they can hold their breath for a few minutes at a time, but they're gonna need an extra motherly platform to get some air. I want your live hippos. I'll come back as one of you. Very peaceful setting. Right, I think maybe we're going to leave this hippos and find out if we can find some more hippos all the way at Chitwa Dam eventually sometime this afternoon. But I think for now we are going to carry on our elephant mission, see if perhaps we can find any more elephants, but I feel like I want to go that way. So I am just going to have to reverse, and hopefully not reverses into the dam or into the drainage line. Alright, let me go. Alright, seems like Taylor's rushing off to a leopard, so let's go over to her and find out what leopard it is and where she's rushing off to.
Very exciting. Now, remember this morning I'd said that we are due to have Tingana back, and that is a sneaky leopard, that one. So it seems as though Tingana was found just in sorry, I've got so distracted. There are Franklins going crazy here. What has got them all started? It might have just been a raptor, because I didn't see anything else going around the dam wall, and there are buffalo in there. I think that's what it is. I think it might have just been a bird of prey of some sort. So as I was saying, is that we were due to see Tingana. It's been a couple of days, and we normally see him every 3 or 4 days or so, passing through, patrolling his territory. And it seems as though Lex has managed to locate him on Tamboti Dam, on the dam wall. So that's not in Djuma. It's actually, the dam is just on the cut line, on Buffelshoek cut line, and he thinks we might be able to see him. I don't know if we are, but we're going to go and give it a shot. Got a little bit of a way to go still. We're just here on Mvubu Road, so we'll go and have a look. And I just want to try and get there as quick as we can in case he decides to move. And if he goes further north or further east into Buffelshoek, we won't be able to get another view of him. I'm hoping though, what he will do is he will cut back, he will cut back onto the property and utilize one of his normal routes, which is to come all the way down Gari Katla and then go along Central, if he is still going east, and then he eventually works his way towards Buffelshoek Dam. But he should pop in. We didn't see any male leopard tracks around here, so I don't know how we got into Buffelshoek, to be honest, because we were all driving about here. So we'll just go and see, but I'm trying to get there as quick as I can. Ooh, yum yum yum. It seems as though we're on our way to, of course, Tingana, and Ali has found something that he loves to snack on.
Well, we had, but unfortunately it seems like these warthogs have gone away. So there was a very big one with very massive tusks, but there he is, Sam. Still looking at us. 3 of them. Now they're hiding in between the bushes, and the only reason why we saw them was because they climbed a termite mound. No, don't go. How rude. I think they're going onto the road. Let's give it one last try, see if perhaps we can see them. I can't really see where I'm going, so just let me know if we are about to stop, okay? I am stopping. I think slowly but surely the smaller grey things are making their way to the dam. Perhaps they're going to have a drink, but I don't think they'll feel too comfortable. But just have a look at the size of those tusks. I think those are some of the biggest tusks that I've ever seen on a warthog. Very big. I think they actually belong to a female and her 2 young. Yeah, seems like it. Oh, thank you for posing nicely. Look at that. That is very impressive. Imagine having to fight that. No wonder Mvula was so careful. Don't really want to get caught in the middle of those tusks, do you? It seems like she's with another 2 youngsters that have been slowly following her or have been walking behind her. And there go the little ones, right? It does not seem like they will be going to the dam, and they've carried on into the thicket. So we're gonna leave them and carry on with our elephant search. Hopefully we'll be able to bump into them, and we shall see. Alright, well that was a nice find. That was a very impressive female warthog. Well done. I wouldn't mess with her. And it was quite funny. You can see those big tusks, and then sometimes when we find den sites or burrows, we're very, very careful when we're about to approach, and you almost see us like going like this and then just starting to have a look, is if there's an angry warthog coming out of a burrow, you can imagine with those very big teeth, it's not really something you would like to face. Not as a human, and definitely not as a leopard. And not as a lion. You say that Mvula wasn't careful enough. I don't think, maybe he wasn't, maybe he just misjudged the situation, because I don't think he could see how big this warthog was. So perhaps it's he just made a bit of a mistake in assessing just how big his opponent could have been, because from what I could gather from what the guys were saying, it was just quite a big warthog that Mvula tried taking down. So especially with those very big tusks, you've got to be very careful. And I've seen a fair share of leopards and lions being hurt by warthogs and getting all these massive cuts in between their legs and their faces. So little pumbas make some formidable adversaries. Also a little force to be reckoned with. Yeah, I thought this was an animal here, but not really. Okay. Big grey creatures, reveal yourselves. Now I haven't forgotten about the jackalberry, just don't think there are any around this particular spot. Machine gun nest, you're saying that elephants love tree and wondering what's an elephant's favorite. Well, they seem to love knob thorns because I don't know if it's, well, there is a good theory that says that perhaps the elephants predate upon knob thorns more during the winter time because they start getting their flowers. So because they are producing the flowers, there's a lot more sugar and nutrients being pumped through their bark, and that is believed that it's one of the reasons why elephants seem to prefer acacias, or in particular knob thorns, at a certain time of the year. But it's also very well known that baobabs, which unfortunately we don't get down here, that are one of the elephant's favorite because it's a very soft tree. It's easy to dismember, to take pieces of the bark out. It's very fibrous, but also it holds a lot of moisture, so it's a very good tree for them. And there are some, especially in areas where there's an overpopulation of elephants, it's become a bit of a problem because now there aren't more baobabs trees, or it's not easy to find baobab trees because the elephants pretty much finish them all just when they're little, because they come and they kick them up and they start eating them. So I would say maybe baobab trees is a good call. I think that might be an elephant's favorite. But down here, marulas also seem to be, or definitely are, the favorite during the summertime because of the very juicy fruit. Kristen, you're wondering if there are any trees that elephants don't like. Well, there are a couple that we get in this area that they don't seem to absolutely enjoy. Some of them, well, or most of them, the ones that they don't seem to like are trees that have a milky latex in their branches and in their leaves. So I haven't seen elephants eat too much of a tree called the tomboti. They're little, It's quite a toxic tree, even for humans. Humans don't even burn it because the the fumes, that emanate from when you burn the wood, they can pretty much make a person go pass out and go a bit funny. Now, also we have a species or a family of species of trees called euphorbias. They're very similar, or look very similar to a cactus. Yeah, you would very easily call it a cactus, but those are branches that if you even go and even with a knife or a panga, you go and you scratch it a little, immediately you see a lot of this milky latex coming down. And I've never seen an elephant eat a euphorbia before, and I think it's because the latex probably upsets their stomach, and not too many creatures actually eat it. The flowers of the euphorbia apparently are like absolutely relished by the African monarchs, the butterfly, but also apparently black rhinos seem to enjoy eating it. And they're one of the few creatures that seem to be able to eat it without a problem. I would say potentially poisonous trees are not elephants' favorites. Now, maybe we should we'll try to find the culprits and see what they're eating. Around this area, not too many of them. I do see some tree damage here and there, very likely caused by the big ellies. But seems like they knew that we were going to blame them for the tree damage, so they're being a bit shy. Alright, seems like Taylor unfortunately has got some bad news, so let's go over to her and find out what happened.
Was so sad and so frustrated all at the same time. I can just see Tingano popping through the long grass every now and then, but it is so far away. You'll see where the cars are driving. It's almost 100 meters or so away. He's around there somewhere. I think he's actually gone a little bit further to the right now. But like I said, it is even further behind that marula tree, moving through the long grass. And it is very difficult to try and see him. He's walking just parallel with Buffels of Katlan, so we'll keep following the cars, and like I said, every now and then I am able to spot him, and hopefully he'll come back this way. Let's see if we maybe have a gap here if he comes through. Craig, can we just pan sort of in line with where those cars are, but just straight ahead of us, if that makes any sense? So that type of distance away. And just watch. You got a little bit up, yeah, like that, and then hopefully he should walk somewhere there. Well, that's the route that he was going. Whether he's going to pop out, I'm not sure, so we'll just stare. He's just taller than the grass. I mean, his ears are really just sticking out and his back, so it wasn't a clear view of him at all. We even saw when Mvula was walking through the grass, how he completely vanished. But you never know with these leopards. They change their direction constantly, especially if there is quite a bit of activity of other leopards around here. Their scent should still be about, and that will get Tingana's nose out of joint. He'll probably be quite frustrated with that he's missed them. I can't see him anymore now. I'm just still checking because he was stopping and pausing, and then he would walk and he'd stop and pause again. So we might see him. Just triple checking. Can't hear the cars moving just yet, so maybe he has just paused for a break. You have to be so patient with these animals. Yeah, I can hear the cars starting up again. Let's see if he's going to move this way or where he's going to go. You can just see the cars. If you zoom right in, you can see where the cars are. Maybe, Craig, can we zoom into where that car is and watch in front of the vehicle? Because I think he's going to come right in front of their car. That's what I would do. I'd position myself that I wasn't in his way, but that he would walk past the vehicle in a way. So let's just stare there. You can just see the vehicle at the back. He should come past there in a moment. I don't quite know what route he's taking, if he's on an animal pathway, if he's just weaving his way through the long grass. Let's just hope that the other guides would think like I would think in terms of photographic purposes. And that's how I would park. Let's see. Come on, boy, pop out for us. I'm even looking at my monitor now because I can see it much better than with my own eyes. It's quite far away. And you also hear some magpie shrikes. They're just calling in the distance, but I don't think that they're alarming. Come on, Tingana. Do us all a favor and turn south. Please, don't go further east. Now, I'm reluctant to want to move because I know what will happen. We'll move and he's going to come out exactly in that spot. Like I said, if we have a chance of seeing him, we've got a very small gap. He's going to pop out where that vehicle is. Craig, can we? I know it's difficult, but the only opportunity we're going to be is if we maybe stay on those vehicles. Like I said, those cars, they would have parked that he's going to walk right next to them. But now just to play the patience game. That's it. Where are you, fella? It'll be a good spot too, because it's a nice little open gap and the grass doesn't seem to be too long just there. So we might actually see more than his ears if he decides to walk through that gap. Kai, you've said that Tingana is playing hide and seek? It seems as though he is. He doesn't seem to be in a rush to go anywhere. Because we know how Tingana can march. He moves much quicker than Mvula moves, because Mvula's not really worried about holding a territory in his retirement years, but Tingana most certainly is. So he's constantly on the march. And the cars have just started up again. Let's see what they do. Where they're going. Maybe he's gone down into that drainage system. You silly leopard. Come back here. No. He must have already cut up ahead. Just want to see where they're looking. Oh no, they're looking to the left. Okay, so he's walking on the other side then. So I think what he's done is, we had the right idea. It's just he'd walked on the other side of the car. And not that side. It's so thick in here, but I'm just going to keep driving along. It's not like I've got any other sightings to go to at the moment. So we will try and be patient and keep up with these cars. They're obviously going to keep us updated with everything that's going on. If he goes up a tree, that might work. Oh no, it looks like they're turning in further east. Anyways, we're going to stick with these cars. Like I said, just driving on the boundary. I'm going to send you across to Ali, who's got a beautiful eagle.
We've got a beautiful yet very young bird. This is a juvenile Bateleur eagle. Now when they're adults, they're normally black, and then their legs and their beak are red and very pretty. But this one is still a youngster, so you'll see he's still all brown, and his beak is of a bluish color. So there's a pair that lives somewhere around here, so I wonder if perhaps it's not the older offspring, because it takes them about 7 to 8 years on average to get their adult plumage. And the reason for it is because then they can go notice for a while longer before and grow up a little bit more and be slightly stronger before they have to start fighting other Bateleurs in the area for a right to establish themselves somewhere, and of course to establish or to find a pair or a mate. That's probably the correct word to use. Are you going to start flying around? They look very much like a discolored version of the adult. Let's see if maybe we can find them in the book. Hello everyone! Alrighty, so let me just find the Bateleurs in the book so we can have a look and a comparison of the youngster versus the older ones. Just need to find them in the book. Well, there's quite a debate around what does Bateleur mean, and apparently Bateleur was a name of an old Trapezoist, and hence the name for the eagle, because they have a very short tail, as you can see over here. Pretty much no tail compared to perhaps some of the other eagles around. So when they fly around, they always have a rocking motion, so they're not that stable when they are flying, but the short tail allows them to do sharper turns in a shorter time. So that's why I think maybe it was associated with them. As I've heard stories of people saying that Bateleur means Trappist artist in French, but we've got the French expert here, Seb. Seb, that's not true, is it? Is it true?
Kind of.
Kind of.
It has many meanings, but like, yeah, one of them is that. It also means...
Ah, interesting. I've been waiting to find a proper French person to ask this question to.
Yeah, no, it's
a far-stretched thing, though, isn't it?
It is a little bit of a far stretch.
Okay, but you can see it with an imagination.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, that was my feeling about it. Good to know. So we are looking at the youngster, which is this one down here at the bottom. The ones that we were looking at the top, those are what the adults are going to look like, and then this is what the juvenile looks like. So this is, you see, very light and bluish face. The legs haven't gotten their color yet, so after this stage he's going to come into this stage where the beak is going to start turning yellow, and then it's considered a subadult, and then it's going to turn into one of these two beautiful ones. So this is the female on the left hand side with the extra white on the underwing, and then the male pretty much no white around there. Now it seems like it's quite a process to become an adult eagle around this area, so they've got to take their time and make sure they they do it slowly so that they develop all the skills that they need to be able to become successful hunters. Our Lara Moore, you say that the adults are beautiful. I agree. They are probably one of my favorite eagles out here, and they're just so feathery and pretty and always full of making noises. Now, I want to carry on because it seems like our Bateleur has flown away. However, there is another vehicle on the road, so I'm going to wait for them to pass by while we admire this very beautiful... What are you? Oh, an upthorn. Look at you. It's an upthorn. So we were talking about trees. Perfect to find another one. Maybe we'll see an elephant-shaped cloud close to the knobthorn. But it's turned out to be a very beautiful afternoon, this one, hasn't it? Holly, you're wondering if there's a tree where no birds will nest in and why. I don't think so. I think birds are opportunistic just as any of the other creatures out here, so I reckon they would make use of any suitable nest. Sometimes they prefer trees that are a bit of easier access depending on how big they are and just what they're looking for. So you'll see often they'll go onto dead old trees that have lots of cavities, lots of holes, and they'll go in there. Bigger birds like some of the eagles and the vultures will prefer trees that are more open. Smaller birds will prefer trees that have a lot of thorns, but because it makes it harder for other creatures to get in. So I don't think there's one particular tree where birds would be like, you? No. It'll be interesting to find out. I think birds pretty much nest wherever it's suitable. Alright. The road is ours once more, so off we go exploring. Still looking for some of those giants. Maybe later on, as we approach Chitwa, perhaps they'll be somewhere in there. Ah, there's a Steenbok in front of us. Looks like, no, it's a male. There we go. Crossing the road. This is wonderful. They normally just don't sit still for too long for us to be able to have a glimpse of them. Seems like you're in pursuit of something. What you smelling? Very beautiful brick-like color on the top and then the white under part. Now they are somewhat similar to impala in that regard, and the whole thing of why they have a darker color on top and a lighter color at the bottom is just to make them appear flat in the view of a potential predator, so that they don't look like something super yummy and they don't stick out when in with the background light. Now we have lost the Steenbok. I think it's carried on going there, so we're gonna leave it because it was quite nice to pose for us and just, you know, do a bit of a catwalk in front of the trusty Wendy. So thank you, Steenbok. And we're gonna maybe see if perhaps the royal cubs have come into this area, perhaps Tandy, and if we don't pick up any tracks, then we shall go all the way to Chitwa Dam, see what's happening there, what birds are making their way into that area, and of course carry on hoping for elephants to come down to the water for a drink and perhaps even go and take a bath in there. Oh, that would be wonderful. Alright. Not too much here. found it very hard to drive against the sun in the last few days. It's been so bright. But it looks beautiful when all of that golden color just shines through all the grasses that are around us. Alright, let's see what else there is around here. I think we're not too far from Chitwa. There, I know. To be able to see Tandi. We would have the two sisters in one day. Huh. Reach for the moon, hey? Alright. Elephants. We're still looking for elephants while we make our way to Chitwa Dam. Alright, seems like Taylor has decided to call it an invisible leopard, so let's go over to her and find out where did it go.
I promise he's still there, I promise. I'm not going to be leaving the area completely because I can still hear the cars moving around, and I know Tingana, so you could hear something far away down the side further south and he'd come racing on along here, so we won't give up just yet. We'll hang about. What we're going to do is, as soon as though we made a promise that we're going to look at lots of trees, I want to find a nice big marula tree, and there's one not too far away from here which we will stop at. And I know that Richard was wanting to see a marula tree, and then Jenny Animation was wanting to see a tree that had nuts. So perhaps we'll kill two birds with one stone. What's wrong with me? I don't know why I can't concentrate today. Let's go in here. Let's just concentrate today. Just quickly. Massive marula trees right up next to the road. This area is dominated by bush willows, round leaf teak and silver cluster leaves. We'll go here. This is our impala tree. One with the mystery impala ram that was up it that has now completely disappeared. I'm going to go over here, find a nice spot. I wondered why I could see a road coming into this. Now we're going to quickly jump out the car. Let's get unplugged and untangled. Come back here. Right. So, it doesn't have any leaves on anymore, as you can see. They always drop them during winter. There's lots of them down on the ground. Actually, most of that was grass. Anyways, so the bark is beautiful, and we often talk about how the animals favor the marula trees to rub up against them. Nice fissured bark. It comes off, I was going to say it comes off quite easily, and the piece that I touched didn't really work. So you can see there's lots of bits and pieces of this, the harder outer bark that has already come off. And I suspect some nail marks, some scratch marks. You see that? That's from a leopard claw going up it. There's another one up there. I'm not tall enough to even reach, so a lot of the bark has been also knocked off higher up by and things climbing would pull it off. But very, very good tree to make canoes out of, macorals. And so actually, funny enough, so is the Cargilia africana, the sausage tree we had a look at. Also great to make macorals. Very, very nice wood. Now, nuts for you, Jenny. I'm trying to figure out if this is a female tree or not, because it's only the females that bear fruit, the males don't. But I don't seem to see any down here, so I'm wondering if this is not a male. Now, the only reason it's flattened like this is because I've actually come and driven around here, and there was leopards down on the ground too. So they're moving and pushing over this dead grass. It dies quite easily. But we will find some nuts for you. Or the other thing is that the squirrels have collected them all already and hidden them away. But there's not too many trees out here that have nuts. I think the marulas are probably the best example of trees that have nuts. So they have a massive seed, and then they have three sections that have tasty nuts, as the squirrels like to collect. Maybe we'll find a little pile of nuts, pile of marula seeds, sorry, that a squirrel has maybe hidden. We've got to squeeze through this little gap. Are we going to be able to? No. We're going to have to go back the way we came. We'll go around here and back onto the road. Still waiting, still just listening out turn that radio up again, see if he is turning back south, but I don't see any cars racing over here just yet. You never know, he could still come this way. Let's look for those nuts. They're the most interesting looking seed, the marula seed. Is that one? Don't roll away, car. I'm going to duck behind the vehicle very quickly. No, that's stone. No. This would be a good spot to actually store nuts because the soil's not too hard. You can dig it in quite deep. No. Ah. At one point they were everywhere. Now I can't find one. Perhaps we'll have to go to quarantine. There's plenty of marulas around there. Okay, let's go down Gary Cut Line. No cars popping out just yet. This is a good road for knob thorns, but Ali has covered the knob thorns quite extensively. They're littered along this road, or along Gary Cut Line. I can't see any more. Now, Ali, you're wondering why the trees grow fruit. Jackalberries grow fruit too. What else have we got here? That's nice. Guarries. We're still waiting for the guarri. Hang on, here's actually a guarri that's developing. It's fruit. I'm still going to pull off the road again. You see that one over there? There's actually a couple of them just growing over there. So there we go, Ali. Not quite ready just yet. As you can see, they turn lovely dark purple. They almost look like a blueberry. That's the word I'm looking for. But they've got a big stone in the middle. Looks like there were some flies pollinating these flowers. I actually saw one moving around on there. So still a while, a couple of weeks to go. But that's another good one. It's my favorite fruit. Like I said, the jackalberries are good ones. Let's go back up here. Who else gets lovely, tasty fruit that I like? Obviously, the marulas are delicious. Absolutely, maybe my all-time favorite, the marulas.